All right, let's get into it. We all know Christopher Nolan's Inception for its insane, mind-bending plot and those visuals that just leave your jaw on the puller. But underneath all those layers of dreams within dreams, there's something else going on, something much deeper. So today, we're going to peel back the sci-fi heist and find the hidden emotional engine that really makes this whole thing run. A story about guilt, letting go, and one man's desperate search for a way back home.
Right from the jump, the film hits you with this question. And it's perfect, isn't it? It's more than just a line of dialogue. It's the movie's whole mission statement. It instantly puts you in that same weird, disoriented state of being in a dream. You're forced to play catch-up, to question everything, just like the characters are. You're right there with them, completely lost.
So on the surface, what is Inception? Well, even Leonardo DiCaprio called it this very ambitious, cerebral, almost existential Hollywood action flick. And the whole concept is built around this really unique, super specialized kind of corporate espionage. Think of it as subconscious security.
So this is the day job for our guy, Cobb. He's an extractor, and as he'll tell you himself, he's the best in the business. Basically, his team's job is to sneak into someone's head while they're dreaming, build a world, find an idea, and get out without the person ever knowing they were there.
But, see, this job is different. Here's the twist. The mission isn't to steal something. It's the exact opposite. It's Inception. The goal is to plant an idea so deep in someone's mind that they think it was their own. In their world, it's considered impossible, a myth. And of course, this is the one job Cobb has to pull off.
So here's the real challenge, right? You have this absolutely wild premise. How in the world do you get an audience to buy in? Nolan had to take the infinite, chaotic, messy nature of a dream and somehow make it feel real, like it had actual rules and, real stakes.
So how'd he do it? Well, his approach was pretty much the opposite of what you'd expect. Instead of leaning into all the surreal, crazy stuff, he decided to ground the whole thing in a reality we'd recognize.
And this right here, this single idea from Nolan, is the key to the entire movie. Every single creative decision, from the sets they built to the way they shot the action, it all comes back to this. For the people inside the dream, it has to feel completely 100% real. And this just shows you his method perfectly. When you think dream movie, you're probably picturing flying, maybe some dragons, I don't know. But what did Nolan give us? A rainy city street, a hotel bar, a snowy mountain. He chose these totally familiar places so that when the impossible does happen, like a freight train smashing through traffic, it feels way more shocking and somehow way more real.
By setting up clear rules about how time stretches, about how you get out with a kick, about these things called projections, Nolan turned the dream world from this place where anything can happen into a structured, really dangerous maze. And it's that structure that lets us get invested, that lets us actually feel the tension.
Okay, but here's the thing. The heist, the rules, the incredible world building. It's all kind of a Trojan horse. The real story of Inception isn't about planting an idea in some rich guy's head. It's about what's been planted in Cobb's.
And don't just take my word for it. DiCaprio himself literally called this movie a therapy session for the main character. As the team goes deeper and deeper into these dream levels, Cobb is forced to go deeper and deeper into his own mind to finally confront the thing that's been destroying him.
This whole mission is just a brutal form of therapy for him. Every level down forces him closer to the memory of his wife, Mal, and he can't escape her because she's not really there. She's a projection of his own guilt over her death. The only way he can finish the job is to finally face that trauma.
And that is why he takes this impossible job in the first place. It's not about a big payday. It's his one shot, his only shot, at clearing his name and finally getting back to his kids. The whole complicated heist is just a way to get to something incredibly personal and simple, a chance at redemption. And this emotional core wasn't just some happy accident. Apparently, Nolan and DiCaprio met for months, just poring over the script together, making sure that Cobb's emotional journey was always the main thread we were following, no matter how complicated the plot got.
But here's the catch. To make that personal story land, the world around it couldn't feel fake. Nolan knew that for us to believe in Cobb's emotional struggle, we had to first believe in the dream world itself. And that's where his whole filmmaking philosophy really comes into play.
This gets us to Nolan's famous thing for practical in-camera effects. It's not just him trying to be cool, it's a whole approach. He does it to create this tactile, physical reality that grounds everybody.
the actors and us in the audience, in the story, no matter how nuts the idea is.
And the stuff they actually built was just wild. That freight train barreling down a city street? Yep, not CGI. They built it on the chassis of a tractor trailer. The exploding cafe? High-pressure air cannons blowing a real set apart. And that rotating hallway? Oh yeah, they built a massive 360-degree spinning set. They really, truly did this stuff.
And it wasn't just the sets. It was the actors, too. I mean, can we just talk about Joseph Gordon-Levitt for a second? The guy had to train for weeks to learn how to fight in that spinning hallway, and he did almost all of it himself. When you see him struggling against gravity, he's really struggling. And that's what sells it. That physical effort is what makes you believe.
So, you take the clever heist plot, you add in the grounded world with all its rules, you shoot it for real, and you anchor the whole thing on this deeply emotional story of one man's guilt. When you put all of that together, you end up at the film's single most powerful concept.
This line. This is everything. It's the whole point of the mission they have to pull off, sure, but it's also a perfect metaphor for what the movie itself actually does to all of us watching it.
The real Inception here wasn't the one happening to the character in the movie. It was Christopher Nolan planting an idea in all of us. He wrapped this incredibly profound story about grief and letting go inside the shiny, exciting package of a sci-fi action movie. And that emotional core? That's why the film sticks with you. That's why we're still talking about it years later.
An idea really is a parasite, isn't it? And this film leaves you with so many. The nature of reality, the pain of regret, or, that spinning top. Nolan planted all these questions that just keep growing in your mind. So the real question is, which idea took root in you? The one about a man finally finding peace? Or the one about a top that might never, ever stop spinning?